Jesus went to the other side of the Sea of Galilee, also called the Sea of Tiberias. A large crowd kept following him because they saw the signs that he was doing for the sick. Jesus went up the mountain and sat down there with his disciples. Now the Passover, the festival of the Jews, was near. When he looked up and saw a large crowd coming toward him, Jesus said to Philip, "Where are we to buy food for these people to eat?" He said this to test him, for he himself knew what he was going to do. Philip answered him, 6 months' wages would not buy enough bread for each of them to get a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said to him, "There's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are they among so many people?" Jesus said, "Make the people sit down." Now there was a great deal of grass in the place, so they sat down, about 5,000 in all. Then Jesus took the loaves. When he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated. So also the fish, as much as they wanted. When they were satisfied, he told his disciples, "Gather up the fragments left over so that nothing may be lost." So they gathered them up, and from the fragments of the 5 barley loaves left by those who had eaten, they filled 12 baskets. When the people saw the sign that he had done, they began to say, "This indeed is the prophet who is to come into the world." When Jesus realized that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king, he withdrew again to the mountain by himself. When evening came, the disciples went down to the sea, got into a boat, and started across the sea to Capernaum. It was now dark, and Jesus had not yet come to them. The sea became rough because a strong wind was blowing. When they had rowed about 3 or 4 miles, they saw Jesus walking on the sea, coming near the boat, and they were terrified. But he said to them, "It is I. Do not be afraid." Then they wanted to take him into the boat, and immediately the boat reached the land toward which they were going. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord.
Please be seated. As many of you know, we've been working now our way through Paul's letter to the Ephesians, taking a look at 2 weeks ago, chapter 1, last week, chapter 2, now we're in chapter 3. And thus far, this letter has been all about the marvelous things that God has done. It's not yet gotten to the point of, and now therefore, you ought to live and conduct your lives this way. God has saved us. God has adopted us. God has given us an inheritance. God has done all of this, but chiefly, at least for this letter, what's important here is that God has broken down all the walls that have existed that kept people away from experiencing God's love, that kept people out of God's family. We heard last week and the week before how those walls have been demolished. No one is excluded from God's love. Now that was radical. That was radical in the first century because Jews didn't look very kindly upon the Gentiles. You know, those who were Gentiles, and quite frankly, the Gentiles didn't look very kindly upon the Jews. It's radical today too, because let me say this again. There is no one excluded from the love of God, the family of God. No one. That includes people like you. It includes people very unlike you. And that's where the rub is sometimes. You mean them too? Yeah. Them too. This first, our reading for today ends the first half of Ephesians. And Ephesians is split pretty carefully into 2 parts. Chapters 1, 2, 3, break, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, all of what God has done. 4, 5, 6, the implications, we'll get that next week, of living within the love of God. The first section ends with this magnificent prayer. In response, he says, "For this reason I give God thanks," and this reason is that everyone is included. Because everyone's included, I am giving God thanks. for God's overwhelming, abundant, gracious love and inclusiveness. And I don't know about you, but this magnificent prayer almost transports me right into the glory of God. And if it doesn't, you've not had enough caffeine yet today. It's just amazing, this prayer. It's uplifting. Don't you just kind of levitate out of your pew? No, you're Lutheran. Did you at least sense a little rumbling? It is amazing. To me, this is an inspiring passage of Scripture. And quite frankly, there's a lot of the Bible that I found, even though it isn't, the Bible is the inspired Word of God, right? I find a lot of it's not very inspiring. I find a lot of Scripture to be confusing. Don't you? Jesus saying, I and you and me and he and we together. And you go, huh? That's how John writes often. Or on the Old Testament, you got all these weird rules and laws, and you got God acting like a tribal deity, ordering the death and slaughter of entire nations. You're like, really? You're supposed to read that for my devotional life? But then you get to this. You get to a passage like this, you get to this passage. And it is inspiring. And you see what's happening here? The people of Ephesus, called Ephesians, are being prayed for. Let me go further. The readers of this letter are being prayed for. We just read a portion of this letter. We are being prayed for. But Paul does not pray that his readers would be healthy and safe. He doesn't pray that they and we will be successful and wealthy. He doesn't pray that they'll find a way to stand up to the political foes, the evils of the empire. He doesn't even pray that they might experience their best life now. Prays that they will be strengthened in their inner being. He prays that Christ may dwell in their hearts. And he prays that they, and here we, might comprehend the vastness of God's love. God's love for all. That they and we might be filled with the fullness of God. Now just pause. If all of that described us, and at times it does, I'm not suggesting it doesn't, but at times it doesn't. But if that were our outlook and our experience, just think how that would color or shape or mold our interactions, how we interact with everybody that we come into contact with. Everybody, the people in our families, the people in our congregation, people in the community. And again, that's what the second half of Ephesians is all about. You and I becoming conduits of God's love, having been shaped and molded by God's love, to share that, to have that impact all of our lives, all of our relationships. Shaped and molded by God's love, having been claimed by God. As I said in the announcements today, we have a baptism. And I want you to hear the words right now that God speaks to Atlee and to you. And to you. Words that he spoke to his son Jesus at the Jordan River. You are my child. You are my child, my beloved. With you I am well pleased. These words or similar words were spoken to many of us when we were just wee infants, reminding us that God's love, God's acceptance of us has nothing to do with how good we've been. Before Atlee could, and that's who we baptized today, before Atlee could decide to be good enough for God, before she could choose to God's child. God's reaching down in the waters of baptism and saying, Abby, you're mine. You are my child, my beloved. With you I am well pleased. God loves us for who we are, not what we've done. Christ died for us, says Scripture, while we were yet sinners. God proclaimed at your baptism, you are my son. You are my daughter. You are my beloved. I love you. May you have the power, we read, to comprehend, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is God's love for you. It's like, may you comprehend the incomprehensible. But you know, we do get glimpses every once in a while of this kind of love. We see it in historical figures from time to time. You think, well, Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr., but we get glimpses of it in our own circles too. I'm thinking of the love of a parent for a child. There's a story about a boy named Willie. He was the youngest and smallest child of a sharecropping family in the 1940s. They had just enough money to barely get by, barely survive. Well, one time, because the mother was very frugal in saving, she was able to save up $8. And she sent it in to the Sears Roebuck catalog. Parents and grandparents can explain that to their children. And she ordered their first luxury item. It was a small, handheld mirror. When it arrived, each family member took turns looking at themselves for the very first time in the mirror. Finally, being the youngest and the smallest, Willie was the last. Finally, he looked at himself in the mirror. He gasped. He gasped in horror. His face was full of scars. As an infant, he had been bitten by a dog in the face. As a toddler, he'd been kicked in the head by a horse. And he looked at his mom. He said, Mom, did you know I looked this way all along? Yes, Willie, I knew. And you still loved me? Yes, of course I love you, Willie. And I do love you, and I will always love you. Because you are mine. You are mine. There are times in my own life when I look at the scars, if you will, of my own sinfulness. And I ask the Lord, can you love me the way that I am? Even though I neglect you and only come to you at my convenience. Even though the good that I want to do, I don't do, and the stuff I don't want to do is what I do, which is what the Apostle Paul writes elsewhere. And in my prayer life, if I'm listening, I hear a whisper. Yes, I love you because you are mine. As is often said, there is nothing that you can do to make God love you. And there is nothing you can do to make God stop loving you. The prayer for the Ephesians and for you today is that you would comprehend what is the breadth and length and height and depth of God's love for you and for all people. And for me personally, the time that I sense in a very profound, powerful way the length and the breadth and the height and the depth of God's love was when I took part in a 3-day retreat for Christian renewal. It was called Via de Cristo. It's the Lutheran expression of a global movement, an ecumenical movement called Crucio. It's a 3-day weekend retreat. My weekend was at Faith Lutheran Church in West Fargo, North Dakota in 2002. I got to the church a bit skeptical about being there for 3 days with a bunch of guys I didn't know. But I left filled with the fullness of God as we read, having been reminded, which is what I'm doing for you today, but also having experienced the abundant love of God. The core of Via de Cristo weekend is 14 talks, if you will, presentations that people give, 5 of which are done by pastors, the rest are given by normal people, about different aspects of Christianity and the Christian life. And those presentations then are followed by table conversations. We were seated around round tables like we have in our fellowship hall. And so the 8 of us seated at that table got to discuss and process and think about what we had just heard. At a Via de Cristo weekend, there's lots of singing, there's lots of laughter, there's lots of worship with communion, and there's lots of reflecting on the meaning of grace. And this 3-day retreat ends on a Sunday evening, and at that time, each participant has the opportunity, if they want to, only if they want to share what this weekend has meant to them, and how they had experienced the abundance of God's grace, and how they intended to live that out in their lives from here on. And I can tell you that I shared, even as a pastor now, that my experience was that of becoming overwhelmingly aware of God's grace and acceptance of me, despite my shortcomings that I had been feeling at that time. My shortcomings as a pastor, as a husband, as a dad. Overwhelming love and grace and acceptance and being embraced. This is what Paul wants for each and every one of us. That we might comprehend it, get a glimpse of it. This letter was not written to perfect people in Ephesus or to a perfect church. It was written to people who needed to hear again and again and again of the height and depth and breadth and length, the love of God. The love God had